What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope that everybody stayed safe today with FOMC. We had a lot of manipulation and a lot of price action, but we're going to start on the weekly, and you can see we've finally come off this level, this bearish order block that I was talking about. So I'm just going to quickly mark out a few things that I drew our attention to in yesterday's video. So I brought our attention to this implied fair value gap, and you can see we traded out of that, but I did forget to mention that this is a bearish order block as well on the weekly. So just as expected, we traded away from it, trading lower. We did trade higher than anticipated. If you watched yesterday's video, I didn't exactly call Tuesday's high to get taken, but you can see we swept above one more time and then traded aggressively lower, just as we wanted to see. So it's nice to see that price going in the direction we want, and we can, moving into the rest of the week, we can start to target now this discount fair value gap. Now price is very bearish right now, and you can see that I'm recording this at a time where we've already opened for Thursday trading, and we've actually opened inside this fair value gap. So moving into the new day, I'm expecting us to fill I would like to think that we can start to fill this fair value gap and price will continue lower. We do have an inversion fair value gap right here now. Why is this an inversion fair value gap? I'll explain that in a second. So you can see our price delivered on the upside, creating the fair value gap, and then now we've closed below it on the downside. So if price does manage to return back up to here, we can anticipate some level of rejection. But to be honest, the fact that we've gapped so low moving into the new day, this is wild to me. Like, I haven't seen a gap this large before, which is craziness. So we'll drop down to the low time frames and have a look at what we can find. And as you can see, we have a crazy wick right here. Now, I don't know when this happened. If we go to the minute, you'll see that price just wicked up one more time and obviously took out a lot of sellers. I'm not sure what this is. I've seen stuff like this happen before. It's very weird. I don't really know how to apply it because even ICT hasn't really spoken about it. But yeah, that's happened. But yeah, if we go to the 4 hour, you'll see that we have this large wick. I don't think we should stress it too much. Price should continue to act the same. But I do think it means that price is likely going to continue with its heavy bearish action, because the fact that we gapped lower and done this massive wick thing is suggesting to me that price won't necessarily need to retrace before it continues lower. I wouldn't be surprised if moving into the Thursday we could just continue lower straight into the London session and trading deeper. So let's say we do that and price is to continue trading lower, I'd then be looking at this bearish order block, a bullish order block, sorry, right here, expecting that to be traded through, and then I'll be looking at these relative equal lows. So I'm going to mark out these relative equal lows below here. It does seem like a bit of a stretch right now for price, but like I said, looking at how bearish we are and how heavily bearish we are, I would not be surprised if price just ran into these lows. So moving into the new day, like I said, I'm looking for this massive daily fair value gap to get filled, and then we want to see what kind of bullish PD arrays are getting traded through on the downside. So we need to be paying close attention to that. Here's the hourly, and you can see how we traded higher again today, taking out Tuesday's highs before slowly moving lower, and then on FOMC traded lower just as expected. And then just now, like I said, we had this weird thing that's going on. You'll see a consolidation here as well. That should help provide resistance, and I'll just show you that like so. So this is a consolidation, and if we drag that through, and I'll make it white right now, again, this should provide resistance. So if price trades back into this range, we want to see this push price lower. Again, assuming we want to see lower prices. We have relative equal lows down here, which is why I've marked it out as a south side target. And you can see that we've gapped here as well. So I'd like to think that price may want to retrace slightly into that. And if that's the case, so be it. But overall, I'm expecting a lot more bearish price action, and tomorrow should be quite interesting. So I hope that makes sense. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, go and watch it just for more context on everything that's going on. But ideally, and first and foremost, I am expecting this daily blue fair value gap to get filled first. We may find ourselves consolidating inside it first, consolidating inside of it for a bit first, before I'm looking for a break lower to run for this south side target. So yeah, it should be quite interesting moving into the rest of the week. Today was interesting to say the least, and yeah, we'll head straight on to GBP. So GBP traded higher just as we anticipated, and I'm going to just mark out what I marked out in yesterday's video with our expectations. So if you recall, I called out the 50% level of this wick to get traded to. Now we did go past it just a little bit, not a problem, but it's nice to see our price attempted to respect the consequent encroachment and then trade higher, just as we looked at. So if you didn't have that marked out on your charts, I'd definitely go back in and have a look and study that for yourselves. You can see our price came down to that level. Look at the volume, we respected it right to the pip pretty much. You can't get more accurate than that. And then on FOMC we traded higher, filling in this nice fair value gap. Now we have beautiful relative equal highs up here. I'm expecting that to get targeted in the new day, so we can put buy side liquidity up there, and then potentially these highs again, depending on how bearish dollar wants to be. So to be honest, today's video, there's not much to say, purely just because I'm expecting a continuation to the upside. We can bring our attention to a inversion fair value gap right here. Again, delivery on the downside, then the upside. So that means the price does want to retrace back into this range. We can start looking for buys in this area. But like I said, price could very well just trade straight higher out of the London session. Like, we don't need to retrace back into this range. If it does, it'll be nice because it'll give us a nice setup. We can start looking for longs. So if anything, we're looking to buy below the opening price with the assumption, with the expectation to run for this buy side liquidity and this fair value gap up here in the new day. Furthermore, on Thursday, we have interest rate decisions on pound. So again, we're going to be looking around 8 a.m. New York for for a setup to form. So let's say we do retrace right until 8 a.m. At least we know then we can expect long positions to be forming for that buy side liquidity target. Here's that 15-minute, and you'll see there's a bullish order block that's formed just on top of that inversion fair value gap. This candle here, one thing to take note of, you'll see how we traded down into this little fair value gap. I'll show you that now. So the fact that we've traded into this fair value gap and traded higher, price shouldn't need to come back down here at all. This bullish order block should be enough to provide support. So the lowest I really want to see price trade is into this bullish order block. So again, moving into the new day, I'd expect us to retrace lower eventually, and then I'll start looking for longs at this level with the expectation to trade into those relative equal highs I was speaking about. So very simple day. Yeah, very simple day. And also another thing to take note of is you'll notice that pound didn't make a low whilst dollar did make a higher high, and I'll show you what I mean. So you'll see that pound made this low after this low, so this is a higher low, whilst dollar made a higher high. So there was divergence happening as this happening. There was divergence happening as FOMC was coming into play, which is another way you could have got on the right side of the market with the expectation to trade higher, because it's showing that the pairs are showing strength. So that's something again for you to go and study. So we can finally finish on euro. We're going to start on the weekly here, and you can see that euro traded higher again, just as anticipated. I did state in yesterday's video that euro may want to take out Tuesday's low. It didn't actually do so. It managed to show strength just like pound did, which was nice to see. And then we traded aggressively higher, and we've also now filled in this massive daily fair value gap. So again, we can start hunting and looking for buy side targets to get traded to. So now we have this swing high up here as a potential target for euro, and then we can look at the 50% level off this inversion fair value gap. Now this inversion fair value gap is pretty much the same as the ones I just showed you on dollar and pound. Delivery on the downside, we've closed above it on the upside. So as price comes back into here, we want to see that 50% level providing support for higher prices to run into this rejection block level and potentially these highs. Let's go down to the 4 hour. And you'll see price, again, we came down, traded into this wick, failed to take out the low, again showing strength whilst dollar was trading higher. So divergence right there, and then we traded aggressively higher, closing above, and you can see we're just kind of consolidating a little bit on top right now. So moving into the new day, what am I expecting? Well, like I said, I'd like to think that we can retrace, not too deep. We don't need to retrace deep into this fair value gap. We don't even need to touch it, to be honest. We very may well just trade into this fair value gap and then see a continuation higher for us to start running towards these highs. And these are relative equal highs. We've got a swing high here and a swing high here. So that should be a nice target on euro. And we also have PMI for euro tomorrow, and high impact news on Friday as well. So the rest of the week is going to be very interesting. Should be quite fun to trade. Definitely looking for setups around the London sessions, and especially on GBP with their interest rate announcements tomorrow. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. Don't forget to drop a comment, drop a like, follow me on Instagram, and join the Discord. I am very active in there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.